Lime, duh. Yeah. Let's do it again, baby. Hello. Whoa. Woo.
Big boy down low.
Yeah. Welcome to the Comedians of Wrestling podcast, a podcast where comedians dissect the wrestling to an unhealthy degree. I am your host, the most viral stand-up about professional wrestling, Dan Black.
Shut your hole!
A.K.A. Donsky Black Amora, a.k.a. Papa Oat Milk, a.k.a. the modern day Goof and Spoof, Raja, coming at you like Cleopatra, baby.
Roman Reigns is always here.
Gubba, wee.
Gabba, wee,
Yeah.
gabba, gay,
Oh, yeah. This girl, she's mine, and hum.
Not a perfect person.
Is it shady? Sure, it's shady. Yeah, of course it's shady.
Damn, she's fine. Yeah, what up? It's AJ Styles 101. We're doing weather on the 9s, and we're doing traffic on the 2s, and we're listening to the blues, baby. You got it. Cow 101. Gabba wee. All right, everybody. We gotta do a full, just fake radio show one day. Like, record it, full kayfabe of like what it would be like to have a play dead serious, a radio show of all wrestling music. I would love it. I would listen to that channel, frankly. But anyway, hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast. Before we get into all this, and there's a lot to talk about, many would argue too much to talk about. Remember that this podcast is grassroots. We have we're technically one patron away from the 20 patron push, where you guys get perks, but your perks are here because you did hit it. It's just one of them dropped off. It's a technicality. It doesn't really matter. We did it. We hit the goals of the Patreon push, and you guys are reaping the benefits. You will be, if you're a patron of this podcast, you'll be receiving a brand new, limited, very extremely limited edition cow sticker. You could see the new cow art is live. I hope you're enjoying it. We're going to be posting some BTS and behind the scenes footage of making that cow art. And also, I told him I would give him a shout out. Shout out to our old, friend of the show, Anosh McAdam, who helped out big time in that and wanted me to specifically say hello to everybody who listens to the podcast. Long listeners of the show will know Anosh from the before times, folks. But yeah, you'll enjoy that. And then also, by the way, with the stickers, let me tell you this. I still have some stickers left. They are a limited supply. So I'm not posting what these stickers are. They correspond to the new art. Okay? I think you're going to dig them. If you want one of those, you sign up at any level on patreon.com/comedians of wrestling, and I will mail you them until limited supplies, until we are out of them. And there's a finite amount, I assure you. And I'm going to introduce she's here, everybody. The first lady of Cow, Erin Finnerty.
What up?
And also, most importantly, Erin, the Cow Movie Club will be back for season 3.
Season 3 is upon us.
And we're going to begin that after WrestleMania.
Well, yeah.
So I'll be like a nice come down off of Mania. Right. This way you'll have something to look forward to. Maybe we'll even try to drop it that Monday after WrestleMania. Who knows? We don't know. The folks, we don't know yet. We'll give you an updated date. But Erin, you will announce so people can get a jump on it. What is the first movie in the 10 movies that we're going to be watching on the Cow Movie Club? Let the people know now. And by the way, I don't know this list. I will find out week to week what I'll be watching. Erin controls the remote, folks.
Yeah. Announced every week on that episode of the Cow Movie Club what's to come next week. But for the season premiere, we're announcing it here on the main pod. And the first movie of Cow Movie Club season 3 is available on the official Cow Movie Club streaming platform, Tubi.
Tubi. Wow.
So
Tubi,
download
by the
your
way.
Tubi apps, folks.
Aaron, you know what I'm
on
going to
all
say
your
about
devices.
Tubi.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Tubi is one of my guys. I love
Big
Tubi.
congratulations to Dan and
love,
Tubi.
Yeah, Tubi's great. It's free. You can watch Bloodsport for free on there. All you gotta do is watch one fucking Progressive commercial. It's not a
They
huge
show
deal.
the same commercials every commercial break. The one I always get is for veggie burgers. So it's really not that bad.
Right.
Okay, so the movie is a sequel to a movie that we watched during, I think, the first season of Cow Movie Club before I was a member. We'll be watching See No Evil 2, starring Mayor of Knox County, Tennessee, the Big Red Machine, Kane.
There's a sequel to that?
It's available on Tubi.
I gotta be honest. That was one of my favorite ones we watched.
Yes, we're kicking it off on hopefully a high note here.
Wow, that's great. That's exciting. So anyone at any patron level.
Starring main character Jacob Goodnight, played by Kane.
Wow. Mayor Glenn Jacobs.
Yeah, Glenn.
Yeah. The man who's so anti-COVID mask, he wears a negative COVID mask. You love it, folks. It's a libertarian way. I have the freedom to wear a mask in the places that don't protect anybody.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's just one of the, that'll never not make me laugh, is that the Kane mask has a cutout of a medical mask.
Covered everywhere but right here.
Oh man. Anyway, so the Cow Movie Club, patreon.com/comedians wrestling. The Monday after after Cowmania as well. I felt like it was a Freudian slip, but actually no. WrestleMania weekend that Monday after our baby. We will drop the Cow Movie Club for patrons at any level. So join the Patreon. We offer more value in our Patreon than frankly we should, and than any other fucking wrestling pod. So support this podcast, become a member of Cow Community, join our Discord. That'll be exciting. All right. Well, we have a lot to talk about. Raw and SmackDown this week. A ton happened. This is the go home show for Fastlane.
Sierra Hotel, Echo, Bravo, India, Romeo, Oscar, Shapiro.
Yeah. Cow champion.
Hey.
Jason
Aloha.
Shapiro in the house. As you guys know, champion's privilege.
Why'd you cut my music early? I was vibing out, man. That was really nice.
It's for time.
Okay,
here.
well,
That's
hey,
not part of
mahalo
champion's
for having
privilege.
me
It's not
on.
that you get the music going for as long as you want.
Honestly, I'm going to look in the contract, the bylaws, but I was hoping that I was going to get a nice, smooth Aloha soundtrack underneath the rest of the episode, like the next hour
Can I
and a
ask
half.
you something before we get into what
you could
you're-
keep
what
it
you're
low.
not
The
finished?
volume could be low. It kind of sets a nice vibe, nice tone. I'm very vibey out
All
here.
right, well, let's get past that.
Okay.
Can I ask you something?
Please.
What's going on with you in the Facebook group, kind of talking about how you're smarter than all the listeners and shit? What's going on with that? What's going on with that? Is that necessary, dude? You're already holding Calmania. It's officially sanctioned by Glenn
Right.
Stefani. I've given you that. Is it?
Yeah.
Is that necessary?
Here's what I'm gonna say, and the internet's an ugly place. Okay, it brings out the worst in people.
Yeah.
I'm not a bad guy. Okay, honestly, I had to make some questionable moves to get where we are today, but I think the podcast in general is in a good place. All right, people are talking. They've seen this belt on social media more in the past month or two than they have in the past couple of years. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson got this podcast viewed. The Comedians of Wrestling podcast, 400,000 views on his Instagram page. Cowmania is coming back after a 1-year hiatus. We beat COVID, not as a virus, but Cowmania as a brand has beaten COVID because it's able to resurface and
COVID
reopen.
still exists, dude. I mean, okay.
No, I'm just saying, but we've surpassed it. The Comedians of Wrestling podcast has gotten vaccinated for COVID, and I am the vaccination. All right, Jason Shapiro as the champion is making Cow great again, and I'm sorry that I had to do it through some unscrupulous means, but I'm telling you, I love you. You know I love this show. I love wrestling. Aaron, you're amazing. Dan, you're great. I'm just trying to honestly just raise the profile, bring this show to the next level, and I think that's what I'm doing. So again, the internet's an ugly place.
It's amazing the blind spot you have for the fact that you beat me down while I had COVID.
How? Dan, it's a
beat up
wrestling
Tulo,
podcast.
took pictures holding his dog's face.
Excuse me. I don't mean to get all Vicky Guerrero on you, but excuse me. It is a wrestling podcast. How am I supposed to become the champion? We're gonna have a chess match. Am I supposed to go to Tulo's house and say, "Hey, you have a briefcase. I'll Rochambeau you for it"? Let's play rock, paper, scissors. I'm giving you guys what you guys love. I'm giving you wrestling content. We're doing wrestling booking. This is a wrestling storyline. I'm sorry, Dan, that
Dude,
I hurt
my life
you.
is not a fucking storyline, man. COVID
Sure
was
it
not a
is.
storyline for me. It was a pretty
Dan.
scary moment for me. You know?
Look, I know. And
It's
honestly, I
deadly
will say
virus.
this.
Yeah.
On some level, there is something kind of nice that when you were sick, your best friend came to visit you. No one else saw you. I don't know, your loved ones, the house was empty. Our other friends didn't even call you. I came to visit you, man. That's a good friend.
And
That's
I mean,
what that
just to
is.
play devil's avocado here, like,
Yeah.
you know, Shebs, you kind of put your health on the line going to see Dan knowing he had COVID. You know, I'm
Thank
just
you.
saying, I'm just saying.
Thank you, Aaron. That is a spicy
just
guacamole of truth because, yes, it wasn't. Look, and by the way, to get the briefcase, I don't know if you guys remember December 17th or 18th when I got the briefcase from Tools. It was a fucking raging blizzard. I had to drive to his house 20 miles in a blizzard. Like, no one was on the road. And I was like, I got to do this because I got to help Dan. I got to help my friend. I got to make sure this podcast gets back on track. I got to bring back Cowmania.
Okay.
So thank you.
All right. Well, why are you here today?
Well, let me just answer. I mean, that was a long way to get around the question. The question was, why did I tell your fans I'm smarter than them? Dan, you know that I got a 1510 on my SATs. That's one of the highest
you
SAT
always
scores
still
that,
talking about
that
your SAT
anyone
scores. It's unbelievable.
I was in the I walked out of my LSATs, but I was testing 175 there. I mean, these are 99th percentile scores. I am actually a genius. That may be annoying to people. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm stronger than you, Dan. I'm definitely not stronger than you. I probably never will be, but I'm definitely more intelligent than you. And it's not an insult. It's like saying
it doesn't feel good. It doesn't
I'm
feel
sorry,
like
but Dan,
not,
look, it doesn't feel good. But I do not think you are dumb. I think you're brilliant. I think you're one of the best minds in the game, unquestionably. Okay, but I am smarter than you. And I'm smarter than probably everybody who listens to this podcast. There may be one or two outliers. I'd have to see their test scores, or maybe they could challenge me to a battle of wits if they want. But like, here's the facts. I make a good amount of money. I'm fucking cool. I am the champion of this podcast. I'm getting more jacked than I've ever been in my life. And yes, I'm smarter than everyone else. These are just facts. They're not meant to be mean. Oh, by the way, and The Rock fucking regrammed my promo. How many of you fucking assholes out there have Dwayne The Rock Johnson regramming your content? Shut the fuck up. So yeah, sometimes when your Muppet Baby bitch fans challenge my authority and tell
what
me—
are you, WWE? You got to get over by saying bitch? That's the only way you know how to get over?
This is wrestling. This is wrestling. This is what it is. If you don't like it, watch the Ice Capade.
You know what?
Okay?
I'll tell you what. As your
I'm
best
just—
friend since we're little kids, I wouldn't mind a little chess. You know what I mean?
I'll play chess with you.
I wouldn't
Dan,
mind
look,
a little chess.
Dan, I've been saying
Metaphoric
it-
chess. I wouldn't
Dan.
mind a little chess, which is like you could have called me and said like, yo, the title, I don't like what you're doing with it. Maybe give me a run at it because you're sick. We could have talked. You know,
That's
we
not
could
how
anyway.
titles
Look,
work. No one was— what you're going to do a handshake deal and just hand me the title for a few months? No, fuck that. Here's the
sometimes
deal.
you do something, maybe something's not the coolest move or it's not the most bad Osman move, but like sometimes you do something because it's the right thing to do.
You're right.
And fine. Just
Right.
like-
And right now, I did something because it was the right thing to do. And it was a hard thing to do. And I'm still getting shit for it now from you and from Tulo. Thank God not from Erin. At least she knows what's going on. She knows what's up. But I'm getting shit from it. But here's the deal, guys. Whether you like it or you don't like it, you better learn to love it because it's the best thing going today.
Okay, so guys, we're going to talk about Bobby Lashley versus Drew.
No, we're going to talk about the King of Iron Fist Hawaii.
Yeah,
That's why I'm here. We're going to talk about look, Lashley's
well,
doing—
you've co-opted. It looks like, you know, and again, I don't blame Phil. He's the producer of the pod. He works for Cal. And making Cal, like, putting the Cal title on display with the prestige that it deserves. And I'll say, I see that the Cal Podcast Twitter account is now being fully used as the official news coverage of the King of Iron Fist tournament, which is currently
on.
It currently is happening in Hawaii.
Yeah.
I mean, Aaron, you've seen
happening.
what's going down over there.
I have been watching.
To be honest, I'm kind of shocked. Like, this tournament's a real thing.
I don't
And
know why
fights
you
are
guys—
fucking happening. Make sure you've seen it at COW Podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, check out that CW podcast. Yeah, here's the thing. I mean, the Twitter, look, Phil works for the podcast. He's trying to make his job is to make this podcast as good as it can be. And right now, the best thing going in this podcast, I mean, the episodes are great, but we've got some fucking action. We got hot wrestling action going on. I've got matches every day. I've got a full tournament out here. So here's what's going on. In Hawaii right now, I am trying to find the toughest competitors. I'm trying to los competitors, very tough. I'm finding the baddest asses I could find. Every day we've got matches. We're cutting promos. I'm finding guys in the streets. I'm finding guys in the gyms. I'm finding pit fighters. I found this guy El Guapo. The guy's like 6'4", 250. The guy's a killer. He's knocking people out. And because I want, look, you guys, you're talking, I'm posting gym selfies, you're saying whatever. Look, here's the thing. I'm training right now because I want to have a great Cowmania. I want to put on an amazing match at Cowmania 3, which I am doing in Hawaii. And I need to have a great competitor. And Dan Black, the former champion, my best friend, isn't coming. He made that clear. He has a rematch at some point, but for now, my job is to give you guys the best Cowmania on WrestleMania weekend. If it's WrestleMania, there's going to be Cowmania from here on out. So I need a competitor and I need a tournament because I got to find the baddest guy in the mix. So that's what I'm doing.
I've already seen some of this footage you're posting. I'm following the King of Iron Fist here on the Cow Podcast Twitter, and I'm seeing that I saw El Guapo. I see, these look like some tough dudes, and I seen this PB guy, and I recognize PB. PB is one of the Ever Beach Bad Boys, correct?
He's not only is PB one of the Ever Beach Bad Boys.
Yeah.
He might be the baddest boy in the bunch. PB is. And if I had to look, here's the thing: the Ever Beach Bad Boys. Hold on. What do you think? It's weird that my running crew gets to be in the tournament? It's a tournament. Everyone's allowed the tournament.
Well, that's like 5 or 6 entries into a tournament that we don't even actually know the size of because you said.
Yeah, because I'm not going to give you guys brackets and all. I'm not a nerd. I don't work for Adam Silver. What's that guy's name? I don't even know the fucking guy. Nate Silver. Whatever the fuck. I'm not a sports statistician. Okay, I'm a warrior. I leave the logistics up to other people. But this tournament is happening. We got, I think last time I checked, over 100 people signed up for this tournament. And yeah, 4 of them happen to be Ever Beach Bad Boys from Ever Beach.
And I saw, and all of them seem to be winning. And is it fair to say they're likely getting more favorable matchups than
That's
other?
So funny, dude. This tournament is so huge. You think we know what the matchup? I mean, Look, I'll tell you what about PB specifically, because PB, like I said, he's probably the baddest boy in the Ever Beach Bad Boys. Because he's trained, like he knows jiu-jitsu. He's a submission expert. Like he's deadly. He is absolutely a beast. So it probably looks when you see him fighting guys like they're tin cans. I'm just like spoon feeding him easy competition to get to the top. You think I want PB at the top of that bracket? I don't want to fight that guy. I don't want him to, for 2 reasons. One, we're Ohana. He's one of my brothers, man. I don't want to fight family. And 2, I'm legitimately scared to fight that dude. I would love it if he had the hardest competition so I don't have to fight him.
Okay.
It just probably looks to you like it's easy competition because he's so good.
I'm just saying, frankly, I don't, whatever. I don't.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
All right. So any updates you want to give on this? Anything else we need to know about what to expect, what's coming up, or is that it?
I mean,
because I would like to talk about Raw and SmackDown.
No, we absolutely need to talk about Raw and SmackDown. I mean, wrestling.
You're sticking around. You're not leaving
for a little bit. I mean, here's the thing: I have not had a chance to watch any of it. I've been so busy. I'm at all these. I mean, you guys are watching wrestling. I'm doing wrestling. I'm basically running my own wrestling promotion out here. Okay, I'm booking matches 24/7. I'm interviewing the fighters. I'm doing backstage stuff. I'm doing spotlight videos. I mean, if you are not following COW Podcast on Twitter, you are missing out on some. Look, I don't want to pat myself on the back, but since I've become champion, the content has been king. We're churning it out. I'm making this happen for you guys. I just want you guys to have a great experience here. So, no, I haven't watched much wrestling, but from what I've seen, phenomenal. I love what I'm seeing.
Okay.
I watched last week. I just haven't done this week.
All right. Well, speaking of, all right, we're gonna move on and talk about some wrestling. How about that, everybody? All right, King of listen, King of Iron Fist is going on, and listen, we got to move on at some point. I could talk to you about this all day. I doubt I'll ever get through to you. So it's going on, and I'll be honest, I'm liking what I'm seeing.
It's a pretty good tournament, right, man? I mean, I'm doing good work out
I'm saying I'm seeing some dudes going at it. I'm sus. I think you're sus, bro. I'll be honest. So
you're sus of the structure of the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I already pointed out what I think is this, but listen, no, some of these guys, I'm seeing some real taps, bro. I've watched a lot of fucking MMA in my times, and I'm seeing some real tapping. I'm seeing some. I mean, these guys, Anyway, whatever. I'm going to see what's going on next. Good luck with your tournament, bro. Good luck with your tournament.
One more thing to you guys. The tournament's going well. I'm really busy between training, and doing the tournament. Like, it's the busiest I've ever been. I'm working as hard as I possibly can for this belt. I don't want to be a dick, but I think I'm working a lot harder than you did as champion, which is why I wanted to become champion, because I'm going to be the hardest worker on the Zoom. Okay, that's the new hashtag. I'm the hardest worker on the Zoom, and I'm doing more for this pod than anyone. You included, Dan. Tulo absolutely included. Okay, I'm busting my ass for you guys, and I love it, and I'm happy about it. And I've met some crazy characters out here, and I think you're going to see some real fireworks. We got some real competition. I'm going to say one name to you guys. Okay, one name, because look out for this dude. One dude really showed me something special. One dude really surprised me. A guy named Full Metal Freedom. Okay, I mean, Hawaii is the 50th state, but they've got some real patriots out here. This guy loves his country.
Wrestler. There's a guy in the tournament named Full Metal Freedom.
This tournament is the real deal. We've got real sluggers. I got jiu-jitsu guys, MMA guys, strikers, fighters, real pro wrestlers. Full Metal Freedom is like as pro wrestling as it gets. I got everything you need right now, bro. Everything you need for a great time.
So
join me.
Okay. Listen, I gotta be honest. Full Metal. I'll be tuning into at COW podcast to see someone fight named Full Metal Freedom. I'll be honest.
Rules. Dude fucking rules. Let me tell
you.
Really?
All right. Well, you heard from the quote unquote hardest worker on the Zoom.
That's me, baby. Come on, you have to respect that. That's a nice one too.
Okay, it's fine. You coming on my podcast. Anyway, whatever. Look, we got to move on. We got to get into it. I don't even have time to go ring the other bell. I got to ring the virtual bell.
Great.
All right, let's get into it. So I'm going to start outside of the ring this week and just bring up that there's not really much to say here, but announced that Charlotte will be acting in the remake of Walking Tall. And she'll be the new Tall Walker. Tall Walker.
Wow. Tall Walker. I love his work.
Fast, too furious. Tall Walker. Wow, I fell into that. I like that. Yo, this is kind of exactly my point with wrestling, where you're like, maybe I'm so out of touch, but is the most profitable thing to do with Charlotte is put her in Walking Tall? A franchise no one gives two shits about at all.
Well,
The Rock was in it.
It's going to be a TV show this time. And
on
the USA Network.
Charlotte's going to be in a TV show?
Yes.
That somehow that makes us
on the USA Network.
And it'll be Peacock.
Yeah.
So
somehow,
listen, I don't hate that, but
awesome.
What wouldn't it, man? Like, I just feel like, why not do something that kind of ties it to her character or something, like something that, like, I don't know. It's just like
it's
they
called acting, bro.
Oh, you know what? It's going to be a 2-hour TV movie, and then there's going to be future installments, or make it an ongoing series after that.
Yeah.
So
I like that. I think you guys are just. I think you're in a little bit of a blind spot here. Of like, you have to remember that like reboots and like TV versions of movies, like people like them for whatever reason, even if the movie is Walking Tall.
Got to be a cooler project to put Charlotte.
Just like, that's the USA Network brand, like Shooter, whatever. Yeah. So if I can read a summary, it says she will play a Tucson cop who finds herself caught in a web of fraud, exploitation, and murder, and is forced to go full vigilante to protect her hometown from falling victim to modern corruption.
I love it. I mean,
Charlotte.
I'm hooked. I absolutely love it. I can't wait.
Well,
Also,
I like using Charlotte for this stuff, so I'm not complaining about that. I'm just pointing out, like, I'm like, yo, can we get Charlotte just, I don't know, a project? We get like Sasha, they put her in Mandalorian. That was so fucking exciting,
cool. Yeah.
you know? I don't know, whatever. It's just
that's a different thing, though. Hold on,
cheap. Walking Tall's so cheap. That's why.
I mean,
really,
this has cheap written all over it. It's not going to be, but I just don't think, maybe she's just not that. I think she's USA Network level actor. I don't think she's Disney. You know, I don't think they're going to stick her in a Marvel movie yet. Maybe if she shines on USA.
She sucks.
Ugh.
All right, hold on. There's so many different things being conflated here. Okay, look, Sasha Banks being in Mandalorian is like, oh, a wrestler gets to be a small part of this huge show. That's cool. Charlotte is the star of it. This is a wrestler is marquee enough to be the star of a shitty TV show. That's actually cool. And whenever you see, you know, like, I remember there's like VIP or something with like Pamela Anderson that would be on after Raw. Mm-hmm. And it's like this unbelievable, like, it's like, all right, she's clearly not like a bad at, like, come on, like, what are you, for real? Like, to see a bona fide ass kicking woman, like a strong badass lady rough motherfuckers up and defend against vigilantes in a believable way is so cool. And even though it's Walking Tall, it's not
Dana's
Star Wars.
badass, man.
I'm just saying Walking
yeah,
Tall, but that's still in the Rock's, mythology.
Yeah.
So you're pulling from a Rock thing.
The sentiment
I like
is
it.
the sentiment's good. The sentiment's good. I just I it's not my favorite project for it, but listen, who cares? They're making shit with Charlotte. It's cool. It's cool they're pushing her on that because, to be honest, she needs breaks away from making the rest of the women's division look terrible.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
How many times has she had that? How many time champion is Charlotte right now?
I don't even know.
16.
She's already like
No.
No. She's like 10 already. She might be.
I think it might be 11.
Already
It might be 11.
10. Yeah.
But the point is, like, because there's the Randy Orton conundrum where it's like at some point, every time you put the belt on this guy, it might be too many times. Charlotte is going to be right up there too, where it's like she ain't going anywhere. So if she could take a couple years off to do movie stuff, that's going to just help because we don't. I mean, look, she could easily. I'd have no problem if she was the most decorated champion of all time. It's just it's all happening so fast.
Well, listen, it's a big issue. It all ties into my like my kind of point of this whole episode, which is to say, listen. The titles in WWE, we've said it for a long time, have really become props to like a really unhealthy degree here. And I really liked Raw and SmackDown this week. I'm actually going to applaud a lot of segments, right? I didn't like some of it. Some of it was bad, but I enjoyed watching it this week. But I do want to say that I am going to be a little negative on this episode. I want to brace some people about some stuff. And the main thing I'm going to be negative about is the WrestleMania card, which I think this WrestleMania feels like one of the least exciting ones to me personally. And I have to be honest. I know if Tulo's, you'd be like, yo, you're fucking crazy. It's so sick, man. Don't you want to see like this? I'm like, yo, there are things on it that I'm excited about. But ultimately, when I take a step back, I'm like, this is not there's a way to do a Mania card that I think pushes talent in a way that I would dig. We'll go through it match by match, but I'm like, every time they lock in a match, I'm like, what? Okay, fine. Like, it's never feeling particularly great, except for Sasha. I'm into Sasha Bianca, which I think is the match I'm probably the most pumped for from the start. Next to equally with the Edge Roman, which Edge Roman is being hurt by this like fast lane detour right now, which is kind of odd, where they're like just doing the yes movement again, like, which is like, it's fun. It's fun, but it feels like it's because they have this pay-per-view, so they don't want Edge and Roman to start touching too soon, and that, so it's a little bit whatever. Okay, but let's go through it piece by piece. And that all being said, I'm going to say a lot of positive things. I'm thinking about currently going into this Mania card. This is probably the least excited I've felt about a Mania card, okay, in a while. Yeah. But now let's take a step back. Shebs can vouch for me this. The least excited I ever was about a WrestleMania card was WrestleMania 31, which, if you remember, we were walking into Levi Stadium in San Francisco. Actually, not actually San Francisco.
Outside
of Santa Clara, 2 hours outside of San Francisco. They don't tell you. It's so far out, and there's not good public transportation there. Anyway, not important. But we were walking in, there was a vibe of like, this Mania, like, yeah, whatever. Like, people were not that pumped for this Mania. Shebs, would you say that's fair?
For 31?
31, which we walked out at the end being like, that was fucking sick. It was one of the best Manias. The best one I've been to.
Pump your brakes. I don't know if that was one of the best Manias or just had two of the best moments. Right?
Is that how much more do you need, though, really?
No, I guess not, because it had, for my money, which is the smart money, because I got a 50-10 on my SATs, the best RKO of all time, right? And then it had the heist of the century. So it had two of the top 10 WrestleMania moments maybe ever, right? In one Mania.
Yeah,
Well,
but then
that's
also
generous.
they also did like the Ronda Rousey rock spot was surprise and a really high
Look,
moment.
look, it
They
was a
also
cool-
had the Sting Triple H match was a fucking blast, which no one
it
expected.
wasn't.
It
No,
was.
it wasn't.
Dude,
No, it wasn't.
because they admitted it was stupid
It was
by
a
having
circus.
the NWO run out and DX run out. It was fun.
We were watching that match, just being like, "What is this?" Like, it was fun.
It was fun. What are you talking about? It was a blast. Sting came out and they were playing the drums. It was a good
I mean,
time.
why? By the way, when in Sting's long mythology was like a big timpani drum part of the Stinger? Like, I don't know what was going
Sting's
on
mythology.
over there.
There is no Sting mythology. That's
Like,
the one thing you
by
gotta
the way,
understand.
Sting and AEW.
That's the mythology. There is none.
Is that
Sting and
he's a
AEW
guy?
makes-
He's all frosting. Like everything with him is like a look and like I guess a vibe that he doesn't tap into. Like,
Dude,
you know what I mean?
I've been loving Sting and AEW. This is the most Sting's made sense in like decades, because that WWE run was just Mad Libs, man. Anyway, look,
I
31 was
disagree.
great.
No, his WWE run was the Vigilante run. I liked it.
All right, no, it was good. It was good.
It was a great idea.
I just
It's
think that the
him
main,
as a character doesn't. Him when he opens his mouth doesn't understand what's going. What
I think that's
what wrestling is.
I think that's what I wanted to. That's what I'm picking up on. His WWE run was marked for me by what's this guy talking about? But his AEW run, I actually like when he talks. I like the stuff he says in AEW.
I like what he says. I actually like he's actually pretty proficient on the mic and has a good time. But when he comes out, it's snowing. He feels like he's in the fucking in like Westeros or whatever, you know. And then he gets on the mic. He's like, "What's up, everybody? How's it going, dudes?" It's like so.
Hey, Shivoni, we've been homies, we've been bros for a long time, baby. And you know, I love when you just say it's Sting. How about we give it to the people?
Yeah, and you're doing
I
that,
love
but
it.
you look ominous. Like he. But anyway, it's cool because Darby nails it, so I'm all good with
You know
it.
what Sting's like? Sting's like when your buddy or your uncle is like the birthday clown at the party also, but then after he's just chilling, like smoking a cigarette, being a cool guy, like after he did the birthday clown stuff.
Right.
And he still just looks like that.
He's like
It's
holding
like seeing like
holding
Mickey,
the Mickey
Mouse with
Right?
his head
yeah.
off.
Yeah, he's like
Yeah.
but he's cool. But it's like a cool dude under there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you like him.
I like him.
Anyway,
Anyway, that Mania was good, and we expected nothing. right?
Walking in, people were like, it was no one cared about Roman Brock. No one gave two shits about that match.
That was almost all those Roman headline Manias. We were always like, "Yo, the main event, Roman."
But this
Triple
was the
H?
most egregious because this was when he
I
won that
think-
Rumble, and it won that Rumble, and people were
Egregious.
booing. Daniel Bryan wasn't even in the. He wasn't even in the Rat Rumble. Remember, it was 2014. It was he wrestled Bray Wyatt before, and then the number 30 came in. I think it was Ziggler who came in number 30, and everyone started
yeah,
fucking
Great
like,
spot.
yeah. Anyway, okay, but so let's put this in the context. So my point is that I think Fastlane's good. This is my prediction. I'm not feeling all this stuff right now, but I believe Fastlane will be sick. I think Fastlane will be sick. I think they know when they know that the card's a bit of a push. Like they know they just threw Bobby Lashley into the deep end of the pool here. You know, not that he doesn't have the experience in that, but they didn't prep that character to be main eventing WrestleMania yet. Like you could feel that it was a last minute decision. It reeks of last minute, you know?
Yep.
But I do think that they know they have to really do their jobs with Fastlane. And so I'm excited to see where that goes. And I felt like by the end of SmackDown this week, I was like, all right, this is all right. I'm getting into it. But let's go through it. Like Raw opens, Lashley and Drew, they just announce Lashley and Drew are the main event. Like that's how Raw started, you know? Like, hey, it's official, guys. This match is made. That's always tough for me because there's no. Why not have Adam Pearce announce that or something, or like make it like an actual moment? Like it's a huge deal moment that Drew would get that. But anyway, but then now you're like, all right, so now I have to buy into that Lashley. I guess I have to buy into that. It's just like Bobby Lashley. We have to have a conversation about Bobby Lashley because you guys tell me he looks fucking awesome. He looks like a guy who should be main eventing WrestleMania.
Right.
But like nothing he does is believably heel. Like it's not like he does not feel he doesn't I don't know. There's nothing he could do, including costing Drew his title, that makes me believe these two hate each other at all. You know?
Right.
It's hard to believe that I'm going to buy deeply into that feud. Where are you guys at on that? Is that
Bobby Lashley is look, this is without a doubt the best Bobby Lashley we've seen in his entire career.
Right.
Okay. So let's just put that in the open. On this show alone, I have said that Bobby Lashley is a charisma suck. I've said that Bobby Lashley is an absolute awful wrestler. I've said that he is a stupid face and we need to put a GIMP mask on it so no one can ever see his facial expression.
Yeah, you always take it too far with a good point, but all right, fine.
The GIMP mask. I remember that.
That's the MO. I take it where it needs to go. He has been nothing short of an awful professional wrestler, trapped in an amazing physique for most of his career. He's all physique, and that's it. And I like his moveset too. Let's be honest. I mean, he's
no, that's the thing. I like his moveset. Someone was commenting. I've said for a long time I dig his flip spear.
That was me. I'm that guy. I'd say he's my favorite spear because he flips with it, which is great. Whereas Edge, God bless him.
My favorite spear is Edge's spear because he's the only one who's built like a spear. Okay,
but that's not what you want in a spear. You want it to be a tackle. That's a bad way to look at it.
He's so much smaller. He might actually impale somebody like a spear. You know?
Do you remember when he wore a motorcycle helmet?
Human spear.
Yeah, when he speared Mick Foley, right?
I think it was Cena.
Oh, he speared at ECW, right?
At ECW, he put on a motorcycle helmet and speared Cena.
And then he took it off and he looked awesome. Edge has great facials. You know what I mean?
Edge is the opposite of, if you could put Edge's head on Lashley's body, that's the perfect wrestler. Okay? I mean, we'd have to do some skin tone blending.
The proportions would be a little.
You'd have to smooth it out in Photoshop. Yeah. But
Bobby Lashley, he's been wrestling for like 20 years, has learned nothing about wrestling acting. Like, no.
Look, he just doesn't have it, right? Whereas Edge had it and he just cultivated it and he grew and got better and better and better. Like 20 years ago, Edge, well, actually, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, Edge was pretty good too. But, Edge just gets better and better, older and wiser. Lashley that's the best we're kind of seeing. But he's in a great zone right now.
Okay, but here's
think about Edge's head real quick. He's got the best expressions. He's got this cool stubble. He's got the long fucking wrestler hair.
Yeah. I think you know him.
He has, they played the song in my gym in the morning. Like, it's in the playlist because one of my trainers is a wrestling guy and I'll put it in.
Nice.
This fucking song just does something for me.
It's a great song. I think,
Dan, you just want to fucking throw the hands up for the pyro.
Oh, dude, and Edge has got a great pose and he knows how to milk the camera and Lashley's got none of it. Edge has all this stubble and hair. Lashley doesn't even have eyebrows. He's got no hair. There's nothing there.
He's got scars on his face. No eyebrows.
Yeah, where'd that scar come from? Can we
I don't know. That's kind of new, right?
All of a sudden, that's the only
that looks
new
like he got
thing.
burned on like a radiator or something.
Something
looks like
major.
It looks like maybe it's like a keloid scar, like people who are African American or have dark skin tend to get them where remember I think he had like a zit or something maybe on his I watched Dr. Pimple Popper, I think he may have had something removed that was on his face and the scar healed
we're trying to pinpoint where did this scar from Lashley's face come from because it's wrestling so people scars they get busted open and your offer is you think he popped a pimple?
No, I think he had like a cyst surgically maybe removed from his face.
Yeah, it looks like he got cut into whatever. I mean, to be honest, if he's gonna be healed, it looks kind of cool. Yeah,
it's all just like really noticeable.
I guess what I'm saying overall is Bobby Lashley. They beefed up his entrance. It looks cool.
Looks great. MVP awesome. Is doing the Lord's work with those guys.
And then Drew,
by the way,
well, I'm saying Drew's walking down to the ring, the fucking fire going, the kilt, like looking like true, like the both of these guys ooze wrestling. So there's also this part of me that's like, I don't buy into this at all as like a story. You know what I mean? There really is no story. The story is like Lashley kind of fucked over Drew like in a random way. Which was like fine, but not really in his personality to do, you know what I mean? And that's because it wasn't well told or whatever. But ultimately I'm like, will I care at Mania to see these just two huge guys like looking face to face, like in the middle of the ring? And probably the answer is yes.
The answer is yes.
The answer is yes.
Here's all they have to do. And I trust, honestly, like I said, this is the best Bobby Lashley work we've seen ever. It's mostly because of MVP. MVP out of nowhere just put the stable together and just made it work. MVP, by the way, who I'm a little bit upset they don't call Montel Vontavious Porter ever. They should. It's an incredible name. It's maybe one of the best names since Armando Alejandro Estrada. I love a 3-word name, but MVP has taken guys who are known for dropping the charisma, like not being able to run with the baton, like Shelton Benjamin, Lashley, Cedric. These are not Mike's guys. These are not captivating dudes. And he's made this stable pretty fucking cool. So I think the pressure is on. As long as MVP could make them credible threat, make Lashley continuing to be a mean motherfucker, really like put some people in the hospital. We need to like mess some things up. We need to maybe, if Drew and Sheamus weren't beefing and they were like good buddies or something, maybe Lashley like murders Sheamus or something. Like we need something like that. We need to make him get personal.
Is there time for? My point is there time to do something? Because what you're bringing up is interesting. It's like the Drew Sheamus. If I would buy into that as a Mania match because of the amount of groundwork they've laid with that
and muscle and just sheer beef between the two of them.
But do you think
both physical and mental? Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, that all being said, is like I really did not like Drew cut a promo, and I really did not like him saying "bald-headed bitch." I'm so sick of the like relying on bitch to get wrestle. He said it again at the end of the show, right?
Yeah, and it's just like it's
such cheap heat.
It's cheap, yeah.
It works
feels cheap as soon as you hear it.
But it sucks when it's the only thing that works, and that was Roman Reigns for years. Right. You know what I mean? For
that's what
years.
I was gonna say. It's always like. Yeah, that's Roman's bag, and it always bumps you when he says it.
Because it's the biggest
Drew is talking about like not wearing underwear all the time.
Yeah.
It's so annoying. It's like I don't know, Drew. I love Drew, but I'm like
Drew's better than that. He'll do better than that.
Yeah,
he pulled out of the bag.
I mean, Drew, I love. So Drew is like deeply one of my guys because he's like one of the guys, and I wish I felt this way about Lashley also because the look is really great. It's like he's standing there in that costume See, I said costume. He's standing there in a suit, and I'm thinking costume.
Right,
Do you know what I'm saying? And so I like Drew wears a kilt, and I'm like, that's his war gear.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And you're like,
well, there's definitely
to be fair, they didn't set Lashley up for this. Like he won the titles like 2 seconds ago, and Mania's around the corner. You know,
look, it's the Hurt Business. The one thing that I don't like about the Hurt Business is like, yes, it's a business.
It's not actually a business.
It is a
LLC.
business. Look, of course it's a business. You guys got to wear suits, but they need to figure out what to do when they're not in suits. Like, I think at some point they all came out in the gold T-shirts. Like, I like the synergy. We need some more synergy. And again, I don't want to sound like a broken record
here. They were punking out guys in the back, just to remember that, because I don't remember. Like in the back, they were like just picking on people and like they were like stealing people's food and like telling them to like get out of their table. They're taking over tables. You're like, all right, fine. Like this is the Hurt Business.
Isn't there origin in the Raw Underground?
Not their origin, but early on
I think they stopped by.
Early on, they stopped by. They were mad about something else.
They built a name for themselves in the Raw Underground.
Right. Okay. Yeah, it was early in their mythology. They popped in because they were a little bit upset about a loss or something, and they just came in and truly beat the shit out of all these guys that they were like building up in Raw Underground for 2 weeks. I was like, okay, I guess that was that.
Yeah.
And then the pinnacle of Hurt Business was they offered Adam Pearce, like, you have a retribution problem. We're going to get rid of them for you.
Yeah.
And he's like, thanks. And he's like, well, it's a business. You got to pay us. It's the Hurt Business. Yeah. Will for hire, kick their ass. And then they just beat the shit out of retribution for like a month straight. Clowned them, and that made sense to me. Like if the Hurt Business was actually for hire.
Yeah, but now if they're like, all right, we're upping our rates because we got the champ now, like that'd be dope. You know what I mean?
That'd be dope. If they're like, or it'd be like, yo, we don't do that anymore. I don't shine shoes anymore. You know, they're like, yo, we're done with that. We have all the money because we got the belt.
Let's jump over to the thing that pissed me off really the most it really made me like feel icky about this WrestleMania. All right, So they make the New Days the Raw champs. They take the tag titles off the Hurt Business, but I don't see how that's best for business going into Mania when Lashley's the champion and they're holding all the gold. But essentially, the tag titles is an example.
It's a terrible idea.
Yeah, it's how they make the tag titles meaningless is these kind of moves, right? Where this is how they make the tag titles props. Is they're like, clearly they want the New Day to fight for the tag titles at Mania. And they're like, let's just put, and they start doing everybody's wrestling on Mania routine. And they're like, here's how it makes sense. And there'll be more stakes if we put the title there, but it's not best for business and makes the titles weaker and stupider, you know? And that's what they did. Then, so we're getting close to Mania. So, all right, Hurt Business drops the titles, all right? And they got rid of the rematch clause 3 years ago, if you remember that, just for no reason. They thought that was going to boost ratings, and then Vincy Claus showed up. It was just,
Boost ratings.
do you remember that? They were like, we've heard you guys. Like Triple H got a promo.
What the fuck was
Giving
that
you what
promo?
you've been
And
asking
the
for.
rematch
We're
clause made
abolishing-
total sense. Like it was completely
Dude,
fine.
all right, hold on. Just to clear the air here.
Yeah.
That is 100% wrestling nonsense. No one was asking for us to get rid of a rematch clause. They
People
just
were
scripted
writing
it.
in.
They just wanted to get rid of it. So they were like,
Yeah.
we're just going to tell them that they told us to do this. Like, there's no reality behind that whatsoever.
Right. So anyway, whatever. So, okay, Hurt Business drops the title to the New Day, right? To Xavier and Kofi. And then AJ comes out with Almost, and you're like, we challenged you for the title at WrestleMania. They've had no interactions, I don't think, before this point. This is what we're doing with AJ at Mania? AJ Styles at Mania is going to wrestle with a stunt guy? Like, like, fucking, come on. Like, here's matches. Riddle AJ for the U.S. title. Fine, great. I'll watch that at Mania. Fine, that'll be a cool match. Big E versus AJ for the IC title. I'll watch the shit out of that. That would be cool. AJ Seth for no title. I'd watch the shit
Just
out of
for
that.
fun.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Cesaro AJ. That'd be cool, right? Or I was pitching was Ziggler AJ open up both nights. All right, like just fucking two guys.
Both nights?
No, not both nights. Yeah, actually, that
I
is
would
now.
like that. Yeah.
Now that I meant night one, but now that I misspoke, that's what I mean. 25 minutes, Ziggler, AJ match, kickoff, WrestleMania. You know what I mean? Something like that. Whatever. Okay? But who, like, we're going to waste a year of AJ this age at WrestleMania? Last year we got a cinematic match of him. You know what I mean? What are we
Which
doing?
was, by the way, a highlight of
Boneyard.
WrestleMania.
Was that the
Yes.
Boneyard?
Yeah,
It was,
the Boneyard
it
match,
wasn't the
baby.
Boneyard. Of course it was the Boneyard.
This is AJ's hand.
Oh
Okay,
my god!
done.
Yeah, I forgot it was called the Boneyard.
The Boneyard.
Oh man, the Boneyard match.
AJ, his gloved hand at the
Oh
love it.
man,
I love it.
And
I
like,
love it.
dude, did anyone else? I wanted to like throw my fucking remote at the TV. Like, this is what we're doing with AJ Styles. I mean, like now, look, I love the New Day. It's just that the tag titles don't mean anything. So it's just like, who cares about tag matches? 2 years. Remember at Breast 35 it was Ricochet and Aleister Black. You remember that? They were a tag team for that Mania. You know, it's
Oh
like,
my
what are we doing?
God.
Okay. So that was what that really like that one when I saw it, they posted, I go, oh my God, this is AJ's match? Come on. Anyway, all right. Let's go to something positive quick. Because I do think Sasha and Bianca are doing a nice job. They're playing it kind of real the way they're doing it. They're not doing anything like super fancy with it. But I'm fine with it because they kind of have believable conversations about being the best. And I like Sasha's dialing up her like cockiness and her like legacy and throwing like she's like, I'm Michael Jordan, and like, yeah, you're LeBron James. Like, you know what I mean? And like she actually said that. I was like, I'm into that. You know, I'm into that nuance. Like, you know, I'm into that nuance there. And I think when they're arguing, it feels kind of believable. It feels like the argument these two would have while they're still kind of getting along. And I'm pumped. I'm kind of like, all right, you don't need to play everything so huge. And then KO ran the segment. I was into it. You know?
Yeah, I liked that.
Yeah. And I think Sasha's like, she's doing more, like, she is like dialing up her like her like confidence, or it's cool. I still think the move is Bianca goes to war with Sasha. Two things. They should win the women's tag titles and go in as the tag. That's what they're wrestling for Fastlane for the tag titles.
I'm fine with
And
that.
they said the last time that's happened was John Cena and Shawn Michaels went into a Mania as the tag titles, which Kevin Owens pointed out.
Weird. I don't
Yeah.
remember that.
Kevin Owens pointed it out, which is kind of like a nice segment, which is like Kevin Owens was bringing up that history. Except for I have one beef with Kevin Owens, which is like, whenever he hosts KO sometimes, some ironic detachment. I always point it out.
Big time.
Right?
Yeah.
He had one line that you're like,
what was that?
I didn't even understand
stood
it,
out
and
to
it kind of
me.
brushed over it, but you felt like, oh, this is a line selling out the segment we're all going to just ignore. Which is like, like, oh, you look really cool today. Like something like that. You know what I mean?
I heard it. I was taken aback by it. I can't remember what it was.
I didn't even understand it. He said something I didn't even understand.
I know. I didn't understand it either.
And I was like, I'm not even going to rewind, whatever. But like, he does a couple things where you're like, you look really confident today or something, where it's like you're you know what I mean, like you're like, your job in that segment is to not like make yourself look cool, your job, but and ultimately he does succeed at the role, because he did point out like, hey, Sean, and so anyway, Bianca and Sasha trying to get along and being tag champions going into Mania and then going to War, and Sasha still pinning Bianca but earning her respect. I think that's money, and I also think that match, I would let that main event night 1 over Lashley Drew, to be honest. Yeah.
Night
Do you
1?
think that
night 2? Just finish the whole thing.
Well, I mean, night 2, I think you got to go Edge Roman. I think they don't have a choice. But what is do we know what the other match is going to be? The Asuka match? I don't think we know. I don't think anyone's ready for Asuka.
I'm ready to release Asuka is what I'm ready for.
All right, bro. Anyway, I like the Sasha Bianca segment. They both look fucking awesome. I like where they're headed. I like that they're playing it like very believable. I dig it. I could use.
I'm trying to find the line that KO said.
Dig for that. It's worth it.
If I can dig it up, I'll find it.
Let's go back to straight up terrible, okay? Which is no surprise, a Shane McMahon segment, who has went from one of the more exciting dudes in WWE, shocked, like surprisingly one of the most exciting wrestlers in WWE somehow.
So you're just talking about you're talking about in the grand scheme of Shane McMahon's entire career. You were surprised? Yeah, Shane McMahon. Look, here's the thing.
He's so bad now, it's insane.
He entered as a guy who was all storyline, no wrestling, like in the Attitude Era. He was just like the son, whatever.
And Pete Gas and
Pete, the Mean Street Posse. It's like honestly, the Mean Street Posse is like a
Gas, and what was the other guy?
Joey Abs,
and
Rodney.
One of them was just Rodney. Right?
Yeah, one of them was just Rodney. It's incredible. Pete Gas, Joey Abs, and Rodney. And I got to tell you, the Evan Beach Bad Boys are loosely based on the Mean Street Posse. Okay.
Oh wow, a little behind the scenes for you.
Yeah, it's a little behind the little BTS.
Yeah.
Hey,
So
the Korean,
anyway, this
K-pop band BTS, does that stand for behind the scenes?
Yeah.
Does it?
Yeah.
No, it stands for something in Korean.
Okay, we can move on.
That stands for Bulletproof Boy Scouts. I just Googled this the other
wow,
night, so,
that's amazing. Oh my
And
god,
also,
I wish my stable was called the Bulletproof Boy Scouts.
Kind of tight. And also the line that Kevin Owens said, Sasha Banks came out and he was like, "Okay, thanks, boss. Thanks for all those paychecks."
Why did he say thanks for the paycheck? I didn't even understand. Actually, now you're reminding me. I did hear it and didn't know what he was talking about.
He said, "I like that pyro. Welcome, boss."
Yeah, first of all, he said, "I like your pyro."
Paychecks.
Don't acknowledge pyro.
Acknowledge pyro.
Like, don't be like, "I like your pyro."
Yeah,
it sells out her whole fucking entrance. Like, she
Right.
doesn't control the pyro. In kayfabe, the pyro happens because of the microchip, obviously.
Because
we know
microchip,
about that. Because of the
obviously.
microchip.
Because we're all microchipped by Bill Gates.
Every wrestler's microchip is in the COVID vaccine. You'll all start seeing pyro.
Well, and if one of them gets lost, you just scan their shoulder blade and you know where to send them.
You go to local.
Exactly. By the way, if I could guarantee that my COVID microchip would trigger pyro when I walked into rooms, I would get so many vaccines. Oh my god,
you get more than one vaccines. All right. Well, if you get the Pfizer or the Moderna, do you get double the pyro?
Oh, I have the Jimmy Johnston. I have the Jimmy Johnston and Johnston. I get pyro and a theme song.
The JJ.
Cool.
Well, there's the Johnson. That's the JJ. You also get JJ Security.
I don't get the J&J. I get the Johnston and Johnston. It's Jimmy Johnston, the composer for WWE.
Right. Yeah, Jimmy. All right, Johnston and Johnson. Anyway.
Oh, it's Johnson and Johnston. So it's one of the Johnson and Johnson guys with Jimmy Johnson. So it's half medicine, half just sick theme songs.
Yeah.
So
actually,
hold on.
I have a live. Here's some footage of you getting the vaccine.
1, 2, is this on?
It's one of my favorite Jimmy Johnson tunes, man. Definitely the best Triple H song of all time.
All right.
Okay.
Anyway,
So the
not as
question
good as
is-
the other one. I like this
the question
song
is-
more, but not as good as Time to Play the Game. It's a better.
The
entrance
question
song.
is, why did Kevin Owens say, "Thanks for the paychecks, boss"? And
We
I
said,
think it's
"Hey,
ju-
welcome, boss. Thanks for all those paychecks." Like that's just a
that-
weird way to even say that.
Is it
it's like
because-
it's
Yeah.
because she's the boss and he doesn't know what that means. So
That's
bosses
so lame.
give you paychecks.
Well, he's
It's-
selling out her gimmick, but she deserves it because the gimmick's so undefined.
right.
But it's fine.
So you're saying you agree with him, but you don't like that.
well, I
it's a
guess
lot
I'm not
like,
really because this
it's a lot
boss
like-
is like a term people use. It's like
right.
a-
It's like when Ace Ventura goes to like the guy was like, "Thanks for the," and you must be the Monopoly guy. "Thanks for the free parking." Like it's one of those lines. You know what I mean?
It's-
Only
well, it is exactly that line.
Yeah.
That is exactly what it is, but it's
Right.
so much worse. It's so much
Right.
worse.
Right.
Anyway, and it's so unnecessary, and it's like, Kevin, like, just quit being an asshole because you didn't get a match this week or whatever. Anyway.
yeah.
Anyway, that segment was good. Now, let's jump back to Terrible, which we were talking about Shane. Okay, so the Shane, let's talk about physical errors versus mental errors. Okay, I've never been more positive in my life that the Shane McMahon Strowman story is one of the of the modern wrestling era, one of the biggest fucking
It is
mental
so
errors.
lame.
It is the gimmick of this is that Shane thinks Braun Strowman is stupid, and that is all it is that he wants to just keep proving to him that he's stupid. That's all. It is the most improv 101 mistake, like the most
Yeah.
one-dimensional, stupid, ironically, writing, bad, awful, god-awful writing. Now, I think a couple weeks back, the nuance was supposed to be that the nuance was that Shane was like, I'm a rich guy, and like, you're like a toy in my sandbox. And like, I kind of get off on punching down and like messing with the small guy, like kind of like a Succession kind of a thing. Like that scene in the pilot where he's like, he pays the kid, like he offers the kid like $1 million if you hit a home run. He's like,
Yeah,
here's $1 million
yeah.
check. Like, and he's there and he's like, if you hit a home run, and his poor family's standing right there. It's the help's kid. And then the kid hits a triple and he rips it up in front of him just to be like, yeah, well, I would have gave it to you. And you know, like, I think that's what they're going for, but this is so much worse than that. And Shane is not established at all in any kind of consistent way right now where you're like, what? But I would buy that story. Just have one inciting incident. Like, have one moment of Shane, like he accidentally fucking hits a valet with the car and he's like, that felt good, you know, like something. Like,
Right,
listen, that's
right.
first pitch, you know. This story,
just bring
It's
back,
so bad.
they should bring back the Mean Street Posse. I think that's what it should be.
well, honestly,
Except-
that's I agree. Why not? Because if it
Right.
fits perfectly into the story, it's like rich guys toying with this, like essentially he's like kind of like a fucking like Braun. They're playing Braun very like podunk muscle, right? You know what I mean?
Like
And so you're like,
Florida wetlands dummy.
side
Carolina
note,
Strong.
have you guys noticed how dope Braun Strowman's entrance is? I don't
I
know.
don't like it.
I haven't
Oh,
noticed it.
you don't like it?
recently.
It
Is it
feels
with
like
the
a train
steam?
just blasted.
No, I don't like it. I don't like trains. That's the thing. Some people love trains. You know when you
you
meet a
like
guy and they love model
trains.
trains or like trains? I think that's so weird and like 150 years too late. So now he doesn't have pyro. He has
Yeah.
3 columns of steam that blast out.
Yeah,
That's
I like
not
it.
pyro.
It looks cool.
That's not
it,
pyro.
It makes no sense. But actually, it does make sense because he does the Strowman Express move. He's
I don't
"I'm a
like
train.
that. It's,
I'm
I
a
don't even
train."
like
He's a
that. That's
train
called
now.
the
He's a stupid train. Wait, so the
stupid
booking
train.
is that Strowman is a train, and that Shane is playing around with an inanimate object. He's
Right,
trying to beat
right.
him up. Yeah,
Yes.
it's one of the worst things I've seen in wrestling in a long time, honestly, which is shocking.
That's high praise.
Like, this
I
is
think-
so much worse than the AEW botch to me because of the physical
Oh,
mental error
yeah.
act of it. Where you're
What do
like,
you mean the
oh,
AEW
it's a
botch?
with the Revolution
Pyro?
thing. You're like, that didn't go off. And people are like, that's all they're going to remember. I'm like, this is like, last week it sucked. They had no corrections.
And
Then,
Right.
no correction. Nothing was better.
now, so Shane does hopscotch. This is what happens in the segment. Shane does hopscotch in front of Braun to prove like, you're like, just dumb, right? You're like, oh, you might be appeased by this hopscotch, or like you're a kid. I'm not even totally sure. that could be kind of funny if they established that like Shane's just like fucking with him and blah blah. It was remotely believable. It's like, hey, actually, before the match, I'm gonna play a little hopscotch. Why don't you watch this, you dumb motherfucker? Like none of that's happening. There's no delivery like that, and it's still terrible. But you're like, I could see it working, you know. But then I'll be honest. Shane bashed him with a fucking camera, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." Always beating somebody up with a camera prop always works for me because those things feel like they would knock you out. And then that was cool. And then Shane gave the elbow from the top rope. That's always cool. I like that. And then,
Here we go.
And then he went under the ring and had a bucket
What was under
of
the ring?
Nickelodeon slime.
Green slime. And the slime was, I don't know what it was made out of, but it had a consistency that was undesirable. It looked like it was like yogurt or
It was some viscous, that viscous material.
It had like a texture to it, like a chunkiness almost.
And he
Didn't
just,
like it.
he poured it all over Braun Strowman. That was how that segment ended. Like he
Bright
hid
green slime.
green slime under the ring. Now,
Now, let me
Shem,
ask you a
didn't
question.
See this?
As a guy who's, I just
How
been
is this
too
hitting you?
busy.
Because you didn't see this.
Right, King of Iron Fist. Why I just have not had time.
Yeah, we know why you're busy, bro.
just
Just
saying,
fucking
very
answer.
busy.
You're on the show.
I didn't see the segment. Can they get sued by Nickelodeon for dumping green slime on Braun Strowman? Like Nickelodeon
I don't know.
owns.
I mean,
green slime.
it wasn't like
nice.
that.
Oh.
It wasn't the Nickelodeon, Kids
Yo,
Choice Awards
I
slime.
think
It was a
any
different
green-
consistency.
You say I don't know, right? And you can't do
Yeah.
this on television. You say I don't
Right.
know, and then you get slime. I
Correct.
think it's a great thing to teach kids. I actually kind of dig that. It's like you
Like, you
don't
should
say I
never
don't
say it.
know. Like you be more proactive about
Be
it. You don't just
concrete
hide
in
behind
your
I don't know.
principles.
You
Well,
get fucking
but then
slimed, bitch.
I understand.
I just relied on
trying to get
bitch
cheap
for-
heat.
Wow.
I did what they did.
Wow.
But when I
People
was a
loved
kid,
it. The crowd.
I
Actually,
want-
you hear the crowd here? I don't have the crowd.
I wanted to get slimed when I was a kid. So like it wouldn't teach me to not say I don't know. It would, like reinforce that I should
I
say
guess
I
there's
don't know.
two kinds of people. Kids who want
Yeah,
that
for
slime
real.
and-
But let me ask you a question. As you got, not that it was the same slime as Nickelodeon, but if I was in a copyright, like a intellectual property court, any green slime, there's no real life instance of other green slimes that, like, maybe if you're in a swamp or like, I don't know, behind a refrigerator from the 1940s, like where would green slime exist? It's strictly a Nickelodeon thing.
That
So for
was a
them to
big
use
bucket
that,
of slime, yeah.
it just seems like it's like clear, like, and why green slime?
I don't know.
Does Braun, like, how did Braun react? Was he pissed? Is it extra insulting?
He reacted by being covered in it.
Okay.
And laying there.
But like next week, is he gonna be like, I can't believe you humiliated me by sliming me? Like, what are they gonna say about this?
Yeah, I don't know if you can say sliming. Like that's definitely got to be a Nick thing.
I don't know what the fuck is going on over there.
Anyway, yeah, I mean,
Definitely
it's just so
check
it's so
it out.
bad. There's nothing even to say.
Why
Like,
is Shane is always bad? Shane is always as bad.
It's
But the
he's
thing is,
so bad, and like he'll have a
I
cool
love
spot, I
him.
guess, at Mania, right? He's gonna like fall off of something. Like, that'll be
I
fun.
think that
Maybe
he's gonna-
into a pool of slime. Now that
I would
slime
love it.
is in play.
I would love it. All I know is that Kurt Angle says the most brutal match he's ever been in his life was the one with
that
Shane
came in the
McMahon,
ring tournament one.
and that's
Yeah.
fucking awesome.
The
Like,
story's always
Shane
good. They
had-
painted the glass after they did the story's really cool.
So great.
They painted it with the wrong shit, so it made it reinforced the glass. When they put the king of the logo for the pay-per-view on it,
Yeah.
Can you fucking imagine?
You get German suplexed by a suplex machine into glass that does not break away, and then you fall
Yeah.
head first onto the concrete, and then you get a concussion, and then you just run the spot again. I love it.
That's interesting. Phil saying that Nickelodeon sued a 12-year-old YouTube girl in New Zealand called Slime Princess because they have a trademark on slime, apparently.
That's
So first of all,
slime
that's fucked
videos
up
are
by
really big
Nickelodeon.
on YouTube. How can they possibly police that?
I don't know.
Well, but I guess if you're the princess, if you're like the one who's like getting millions of hits, they'll try to come after you, but they're not going to come after
yeah.
every, what's
Queen with
every
a slime
Tom, Dick, and
channel.
Mary who's saying
Yeah.
slime. But if you're a big deal, they'll get you. So let me ask you this, guys who watched Raw, did they call it slime?
I don't remember what they said.
I don't remember either.
I don't remember what they said, actually. It was
Interesting.
anyway. All right, let's move on for a sec. So, all right, here's some good shit though.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of dig the way they ended out SmackDown, which, I mean, I think Jey Uso is like killing it. I'm really enjoying Jey Uso. He's really getting angry. He seems
I'm
like
a Jimmy
such-
guy.
Yeah. Jimmy's gone right now. But so Daniel Bryan, they signed the contract. Roman, and then Jay was like, I'm going to be special guest enforcer. And then Edge ran on and was like, yo, Jay, why don't you wrestle me next week? It'll be my first time wrestling on SmackDown in 11 years. And winner will be the special guest enforcer. And you're like, all right, I'll buy into that. That's fun. And then it was just like an all-out fucking brawl. And it was cool to see Edge, who was beating the shit out of Roman, which was fun. I hadn't really seen that yet. Yeah, I mean, I'm into it. Daniel Bryan versus Roman, I'll watch it, you know. We'll see. Then we'll get into the Edge stuff. I believe Edge Roman I will be very into by the time Mania rolls around. I'm excited to hear what Roman's new music will be at Mania, so that'll be fun. He's definitely going to have...
That's
right?
gonna be
I mean,
the
I hope he
drop.
comes out in undies at Mania, too. I'm sure he'll blow it. He'll wear something that'll piss me off. Yeah, that was good. But here, Big E cut a really dope promo with the IC title. You know, it's just kind of this thing, this IC title. They changed the actual title. It's so like not even remotely memorable, the actual title. But I like his feud with Apollo. I'm totally into it. I like Apollo using the stairs as his weapon. I think it's very fun. I wish I gave a shit about the IC title though. Like, what do you say?
The IC title
I
looks
never
like
remember
crap.
who has it.
Yeah, the only title that looks better now than it did
It's the
ever
US
before
title.
is the U.S. title. Everything else just looks like absolute dog shit. These
Yeah.
belts in WWE are fucking crap.
But there's a thing with the IC title where you're like, it really works when it's like you acknowledge that it's secondary, like Miz did, where Miz was like, yo, this title's disrespected, but it's the best title. Like you kind of have a hang up about it.
Right.
That always
Back when it
Yeah.
was
but when
white.
you pretend it's the heavyweight title is when I zone out on it.
Right,
you know what I
right,
mean?
right.
It's
It
when
worked
you
for me when Sami Zayn had it too. Somehow that worked for me too because he was being so ridiculous with it.
Yeah, because that character kind of worked with it, but it's like Big E belongs. Like, to be honest, I wish Big E was in the Lashley spot. You know,
That would be
if
way
you
more fun.
chose a huge guy, he can cut promos. He's interesting because this thing about Big E where it's like he's wearing the New Day gear, but he's not with the New Day, so you're kind of like, you know, it's a little like I don't know. It's not all totally there yet, but his promos are great. He's so fucking jacked. He's great. I'm a Big
Very
E mark. He's funny. He's cool. It's like this IC, it's just like feels like a placeholder spot, and then it makes the title not. Why do you the U.S. title and the IC title? I guess because there's two shows. It's whatever, you know. I don't know. It's hard for me to care about the IC title unless somebody is acknowledging like, yo, the IC title is lesser, or you do open challenges with lower titles. Like those are the
Right,
two.
right.
Those are the two solutions.
Or you're clearly not a main event player and you're
Right.
actually being elevated by having the IC
Like
title.
Riddle right now. You're
Right, like throwing the U.S. title on Riddle is like, oh, cool, they're bumping him up. Nice. Look, but on paper, not maybe on paper, but Big E making an IC run isn't a bad thing for him to do on the way to, because he feels main event, but, you know, he's never had much of a singles career before, so not the worst thing in the world. It's a little bit of a coast. He's kind of coasting right now in an IC spot, but, you know, you got to get there on the way to the top, so it doesn't totally kill me. But yeah, it's not something I'm super captivated by.
You have two titles. You start going to Mania and you have two heavyweight titles. This is old news, obviously. It's just something that just it weighs on me like a little. It weighs on me like more and more. Just feels like there's better use of mid card talent or whatever to make them feel like they're. Because I was watching this clip. This clip was. I sent it to you. I think I sent it to like the cow, maybe in the Discord or whatever. But like it's like a random SmackDown that's like. Taker, Rock, and Stone Cold in the ring, and then they're like beating the shit out of each other, whatever, blah blah blah. And then Triple H shows up, Rikishi shows up, then Kurt Angle shows up, and you're like, these are all heavyweight guys, like doing heavyweight shit, you know? And you're like, what they do in WWE now is like when you're AJ and you're not the champion anymore, we'll give you the IC title, you know? And you're like, why can't you keep you at the top or have a tournament but you enter to like get to build yourself back up? I'd rather watch you have enhancement matches than watch you with a title that means nothing to me, you know? So
I agree.
I think that's kind of what's tricky with this now. And then your only answer is to kind of pretend it matters or go full like grudge match. But then why do I even need a title for that? Why does Big E need a title with Apollo if he's bashing him with chairs, with stairs? But anyway, I'm a huge Big E mark. I really think I think that he's an example. So it's like, that's part of my thing with this Mania is like, if we're pushing guys, newer guys, like Lashley's not really like a new talent. So it's hard, and Edge is not a new talent, obviously, and you're like, oh, maybe I'm not. I'm like my head. I'm like, maybe I'm not that into this because like they're trying to like not rely on Brock anymore, not rely on Taker, but they're relying on just less interesting versions of those guys, and so I think that like, and then like Bianca, who they've elevated, I'm into that. So it's not totally that. It's just that I don't know. So now you're going to have Seth wrestle Cesaro at Mania, I guess. And Seth, you're like, geez, man, like I love the outfit he's wearing. His outfits are always fun. He's wearing the loafers and the
socks,
the flannel, right? Or the
he had
plaid.
on like a plaid suit. That was cute.
I know, but somebody sent me just a clip of him doing "Burn It Down." His old entrance. It was Newman sent me that clip, and you're like, ooh, man. And he was wearing the white IC title, and you're like, oh man, like.
Well, that white IC
guy
title
looks like
was
a
something
mill.
special.
Yeah.
That white IC title was a real nice piece. That's courtesy of Cody Rhodes, by the way.
And yeah, that is true. He decided to bring that back right now. Fun thing. Now, one thing I think is a perfect use of a character who's not in the main roster. Not on the heavyweight picture, and not in the title pictures anyway, is what Sami Zayn is doing, which is really fucking fun. He's making a documentary. He's actively filming, shooting, and editing a documentary.
So here's the debate that I feel like I got into last time on the show. Someone was like, I can't wait until we see that documentary. I'm like, I don't think these guys are even running those cameras.
No, we're definitely not seeing that. If anything, it'll start and then like Kevin Owens will be ripping up the footage, right?
Right. Like those guys are just other wrestlers. They're not even aiming
right.
right.
Tulo?
Like,
is it the markiest guys? Like, yo, I can't wait to see that documentary.
It was probably Tulo, if I had to guess. But somebody was like being like, yo, it's gonna be so fun when they put that together. I was like, if you think that those dudes are actual camera guys and those cameras are even fucking on, you don't know what wrestling is.
Yeah, it's like they're filming the show, but then you think they're also like, we have like our friend Keith who's like filming this documentary that's actually going to be put out. Like, I don't know, maybe we're wrong, but I don't know.
No, because also just watch the way it's directed. Sandwich like, hey, now you go there and shoot that. So if you were to watch that documentary, it'd be in the middle of a conversation, like from this. It's not real. It's not a real. I would love it if it was.
But
real,
I love it. He cut a great promo on Talking Smack, Sami Zayn, just like complete. They're going full QAnon with him. Like he thinks there's this big controversy out to get him. And he's like, you're gonna see the truth about what's going on here, and it's fucking fun. It's a good time. So I dig that. It's just, man, AJ, Seth, this is what they're gonna do at Mania. I mean, look, Seth Cesaro, I'm into. I'm into that as a match, but I'm not that into this version of Seth anymore. And I mean,
it was a fun time, but
I miss the Architect.
Right. It's been fun, but we could do better stuff with him.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, that's all the main stuff I had this week. It's, it's like, I don't know, there are a couple of these decisions for Mania they're just a little like how much I care about Mania. And some of this is just so slop jalop that like, I guess I could give them a pass because of COVID, like there's a chance like there was a lot of like ifs, ends, whatever, like a lot of like up in the air, but they're doing this 2 nights.
That's the thing that's unforgivable to me. This doesn't, like, who wanted 2 nights of this?
It's just because they're probably getting the stadium for the same amount of money, so they're trying to sell double tickets, right? They're like, we'll give you 2 nights.
I just really, but for years this has been burning of like, should WrestleMania be the whole weekend or not? And I really hope that they're not using COVID as an excuse to now make it a 2-day affair. Because as a guy who's been to all of these things, like you love it, but you want to get the fuck out of there. It's so long. There's so much going on, and I'm just
if you're watching at home, it's like you've watched, NXT on Saturday, then this, and then you have SmackDown. It's like a lot.
Sorry guys.
By the end of it, you're not looking for another day of it. By the end, that's for
One last thing, and then we got to get out of here because I got to run for time. We're going over, but Randy Orton will be wrestling Alexa Bliss at Fastlane. Officially booked to be wrestling.
I'm so excited.
That's so fun. And it's time to see Fiend again. Because what I was saying is that like Fiend is probably the solution for me on liking this, like on this Mania being like, all right, I'm going to watch the fucking Fiend enter. That's dope. And then I also want to say, I just saw a picture of Finn Balor doing the gun to Karrion Kross's head on NXT.
Oh yeah.
And well, I saw the funny
The
one. Which
temperature gun.
He's taking the temperature gun and they're wearing masks. It's very funny. But like, boy, oh boy, like Finn, he looks so fucking awesome. I mean, I wish, I hope he could get to a place where he could captivate me, because he looks so fucking good,
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever. We'll talk about AEW NXT in the bonus episode. And remember, we're not going to do predictions because we don't even have everybody here this week. But remember, everybody, your stickers are coming in the mail now. If you're a patron, hope you dig the new art. Let me know if you dig it. Message us. A lot of work went into all that. I hope you dig it all. Aaron will be posting some of the behind the scenes for the new art. There's limited amount of the cow stickers you're getting, like very limited amount. To be frank, they're expensive stickers. So if you want them, sign up for the Patreon any level, the $2 level, which also gets you access to the Discord. Go to patreon.com/Comedians Wrestling. You're also supporting an independent podcast that fucking rules. So do that. And you'll get. I'll be mailing the stickers out until we are out of them. And also, Cow Movie Club will come back after Mania.
Mm-hmm.
And
See No Evil 2, now available on Tubi.
Yes. And check out the King of Iron Fist Hawaii tournament, which is leading to Calmania fucking 3 Shebs. It just snaps back to reality. We can talk about wrestling. It reminds me whatever. Not worth it right now.
Yeah, Dan, we're friends. I'm sorry to tell you, we're just friends. But yeah, look, I have the belt right now, and I'm gonna have a match. I'm gonna make Calmania 3 happen. It's gonna be great. I'm glad that I could bring back this once proud podcast event. Every great podcast should have a live event at least once a year. Calmania 3 will be back. WrestleMania weekend is Calmania 3. Jason Shapiro versus the winner. A little late on that, but I like it. It will be me against the winner of the King of Iron Fist Hawaii tournament. So winner TBD, but it will be.
And whoever fucking really wins, you're gonna actually wrestle that guy. You're not fucking around here.
Well, yeah. Who else am I gonna wrestle? That's what I'm gonna wrestle. I need to find an opponent. I'm gonna wrestle Sal. I gotta wrestle.
Well, I see clips of this fucking PB guy. This guy would beat your ass, bro.
I mean, he knows how to fight. That's the problem. He actually knows how to fight. I'm learning. I'm training. But by the way, I am training. Like I'm in striking classes. I'm in the gym every fucking day like an animal. I swear to you guys, I am working as hard as I can to be a legitimate champion. You guys can be proud of. I'm sorry you don't like the way I got this belt, but I'm working my ass off trying to make this podcast great again. I am the hardest worker on the Zoom.
Okay, everybody. Hey, everybody, we're out of here. Keep watching wrestling. Kisses.